everyone, and welcome to another edition of Collaboratory Confluence series. This is episode number 2. We're going to be talking all about stopping, collaborating, and listening as a hybrid team. My name is Daniel Ayala, and I'm a product manager at Atlassian.
And my name's Hillary Dubin. I'm also a product manager at Atlassian, and Daniel and I both work on Confluence. We're so excited to show you how you can collaborate better with your entire team.
Cool. So as you could probably expect, we think a lot about collaboration on the Confluence team, and we've come up with what we call the collaboration equation, which we use to think about how teams can sort of collaborate effectively with each other. So there's really 2 key pieces to this. The first is people, and this is really about the folks who are on your team, the folks in your organization, as well as people you work with and collaborate outside of your organization. And the second key pillar is really place. And when we're thinking about hybrid teams, we're thinking not just about physical spaces, but also digital spaces where people will come together to sort of work together and ultimately move their work forward together. So during this talk, we're going to be sharing a number of best practices from inside Atlassian, and we're going to be following Claire, who's an enterprise brand lead on our brand and creative team. It's a great quote from her. We do everything in Confluence. It's the heart collaboration on the brand team, both internally and with partners. So as I mentioned, everything starts with the right people. So there's a couple key pillars to this as well. So one key question that we always ask is, who is doing what, right? And we're really looking to try to encourage synergy, the right crew of people, and ultimately define who's in charge of any work. So it's really important when you're collaborating with a team to have a clear definition of roles and responsibilities, so all aspects of a project are covered. Every person needs to know what they're doing, and no one is really stepping on each other's toes. And when you get that shared sense of a kind of who is doing what, it becomes a lot easier for your teams to collaborate effectively. So one tool that Claire and her team use for this is inline comments, and they use this in conjunction with our app mentions tool. Inline comments, have existed on Confluence for quite a number of years. But last year, we also just shipped inline comments in the editor. So it's a great tool to be able to use to highlight content, share and send feedback. And then mentions can be used in conjunction to sort of bring folks into your content through notifications and make them aware of work that they may need to sort of be across. The second key question we look into when we're talking about people is, can you help me with this, right? And so this is really all about effective communication. Communication between people needs to be effective, productive, and helpful. And choppy communication can create unnecessary speed bumps to collaboration. So a couple of tools that we really look to in Confluence that Claire's team uses really effectively to address these are sharing and watching. So whenever you're on a Confluence page in our product on web or on mobile, you can go to the top right-hand corner of a page, hit the share button, and immediately see this dialogue where you can share internally with your team or directly via email with folks outside. And this is a great way to sort of get people, send notifications to folks who are, you want to immediately address content to and make sure that they're across things and can sort of jump in and collaborate with your team. The second is our watching feature. So this is a feature that exists on pages as well as at the space level. And this allows you to sort of opt in to receive notifications about content that's sort of being created or updated and worked on across your team. The third question we look into is, are we having fun? So this is really about team morale and sort of building a sense of positive and inclusive work. So in great collaboration, everyone is contributing. People feel respected, acknowledged, and involved, but also people feel safe to disagree. So being able to sort of have that open and honest communication will improve overall team morale and ultimately collaboration. So one feature that Claire's team uses today is our like feature on pages. So this allows you to sort of like and just share, quickly express that you've seen something or interested in it, etc. But I'm also excited to announce that in the coming months, we're going to be launching reactions. So this is going to allow people to very quickly express themselves in a much wider array of ways and provide feedback to their team on their content. And then finally, do we have everyone, including clients and contractors, right? And so it's like a key piece of, kind of lifting overall team morale is making sure that you're thinking about the people and teams within your organization, as well as those people who work outside of your organization, and kind of putting them on a level playing field. Team doesn't always mean the core team. So when you're thinking about vendors, contractors, and external clients, it's important to treat them as a teammate as well. And so one key feature that's really important here is our external collaboration tools, which are a key piece of our premium offering. And there's quite a few features in here that are useful and relevant to sort of leveling that playing field with external collaborators as well. So we have a new user role, which allows external clients and vendors can be added with a new user type. So you can bring them into your Confluence instance and your work. There's no default access. So those folks have access to just the spaces where they're explicitly added. So you can maintain control of your overall instance and work. And there's no access to user information, right? So they can't search your people directory, get user pickers, et cetera. And so you control sort of the playing field, but are able to kind of bring them into the work and help them be just as productive and successful as your core teammates. Now I'm going to hand it over to Hillary, who's going to talk about the right place for collaboration.
Thanks so much, Daniel. And like we mentioned earlier, place means so much more than a physical place. Place could be a virtual space, it could be your place emotionally and mentally, and it could be your place in your progress towards your goals. So we'll talk about some ways and questions that you can ask yourself to make sure everyone on your team is operating in the same place. The first question we like to ask internally is, what do we know? And everyone knows that knowledge is power, but it's not if you're operating in a vacuum. And being able to find, understand, and use knowledge is what matters the most for successful collaboration. Everyone should be able to find the information they need to get their job done. You shouldn't have to go searching for minutes, hours to find the right pages and content that you need. And knowledge should also have longevity, even as people come and go through an organization. The brand team has done a fantastic job keeping their page tree super tidy, and I know they're really proud of this. I think we could all do a little bit of spring cleaning here and there, and they've kept theirs super organized so that it's easy to find content you need at any time. By working openly and storing information in a page tree like this, our brand team can quickly access not only current projects, but also knowledge from past campaigns over the years. You could see 2016 all the way up to 2021. And unlike traditional folders, you can leverage the page tree in Confluence, so you can easily discover content in its place without information silos. Next, we like to ask, how are we doing? It's important to have a clear understanding of where the team's going and have a clear plan of how to get there. And this is like what I mentioned earlier, where place can be your place in your progress. So it's really important to know how to measure progress and to check in on it regularly, because as your team grows, this becomes even more critical. Our brand team with Claire has done a really good job using the space and workflows with macros so that they can check in on the status of particular documents and make sure that they're all tracking at the same place as they go towards their goals. We also like to ask, where are we heading? Team members should understand the vision, goals, and plan for achieving success. Just because your team is in the same place today doesn't necessarily mean everyone knows where you're going and that they're heading in the same direction. So you can use Confluence to make sure team members understand your vision and that everyone knows where the team wants to go in the future. At Atlassian, we use a combination of preset library templates and team-specific templates, like the one you see here, to get everyone aligned in terms of objectives, strategy, and where we want to go. And Claire's team has created a brand brief template that they use every time they do a brand brief, so it's quick and easy to get started and aligned each time they start a new project. Yeah, so you can see here objectives, strategy, and just some best practices to make sure that everyone is on the same page and there's consistency in the projects. And finally, we like to ask ourselves, are we all on the same page? And in Confluence, that literally means, are we working on the same page? A consistent single source of truth is critical to smooth collaboration. And you want to be sure that information isn't duplicated and that everyone is operating off the most recent version of your content. With Page Analytics and Confluence Premium, you can ensure that all the critical members of your team have seen the same version of your content. So here you see a page from the brand team. Let's say they have a meeting coming up and you want to make sure everyone has seen the latest version of that page before the meeting. You can go into analytics and check which version each team member has seen and when to make sure that everyone is up to date, everyone's in the loop, and then you can recirculate information if not. And like Daniel mentioned earlier, we're adding external collaboration to Confluence Premium. So in the past, maybe you had to work with external clients through a PDF export or other tools. The brand team has been one of our first testers of external collaboration. So now they can securely collaborate in one place by adding guest users directly into their Confluence space. With clear notifications and markers like you see here, everyone knows when someone external has been added so they can collaborate together, but be aware that they're not sharing any sensitive information. So let's review. When you have all the right people, be that internal or external, working together in the same place, and that's figuratively in terms of alignment and progress, but also literally with a single source of truth, that sums up to seamless and successful collaboration, our collaboration equation. To make sure you have all the right people, you might ask yourself, who is doing what? Can you help with this? Are we having fun? That one's my personal favorite. Do we have everyone? And to make sure that you're all in the same place, you might ask yourself, what do we know? How are we doing? Where are we heading? And are we all on the same page? Thank you so much for tuning in to learn how you can stop, collaborate, and listen. We really firmly believe in this collaboration equation. Daniel and I use it all the time. We hope you enjoyed some stories from our branding team, and shout out to Claire for letting us feature her in this webinar. And be sure to tune in next week to learn how you can use Confluence to keep projects moving forward with in-person, remote, and distributed teams. Thanks so much.